The Beyond Meat phenomenon is continuing as the stock soars a whopping 200% since its IPO earlier this month. But are investors too hungry for this mystery meat, especially when they don't know exactly what's in it? Let's bring in Dan Glickman, Executive Director of the Aspen Institute's Congressional Program and a former U.S. Agriculture Secretary. He co-authored an op-ed in the New York Times on nutrition earlier this year. Dan, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, there is this craze about alternative meats out there right now. Do we know if it's better for you?
Well, we're not sure, but it gives the consumer some choice that many would like to have. There are many vegetarians out there. Many people would like to vary their diets, some plant-based meat, some regular meat. So I think it's good that it's out there. I think it's safe. One of my points is that we can't really market it, however, as necessarily better for you because we don't know, because we have a lack of nutrition science in this country that's a part of our medical system. So some people eat it. It certainly won't hurt you. It can be very tasty, but it doesn't mean it's better for you.
Okay. So is there any research being done because this seems like a growing fad. It seems like, I don't want to say fad, it's a growing trend, let's say. More and more people are looking at meat alternatives right now. Is there research being done to say, you know what, this is in fact better for you? Or is this something that right now we just have to live with not knowing?
Well, I think we know enough to know that it's healthy, and we know that it has some protein in it. But as a general rule, apart from the plant-based meat, we do not know enough about what's in our food. There's an old expression, you are what you eat. But nutrition has never been a serious study of science in the National Institutes of Health. We study major diseases like heart disease, cancer, arthritis, Alzheimer's, but we don't do enough study in how you can prevent disease from happening. And food is a big part of that. So while I certainly support plant-based meat, but I don't think anybody should look at that as the nirvana or the only solution to the problem. We need to look at this across the board to try to help people make intelligent food choices based on good science.
We were just showing Dan the ingredient list for Beyond Meat, and we don't mean to pick on Beyond Meat. It's a fine product, but it is, and it was a hot IPO coming out of the gate. Water, pea protein isolate, canola oil, refined coconut oil, cellulose from bamboo, methyl cellulose. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Do you think that the federal government should spend more money investigating, putting the research behind foods like this, especially as we move into this sort of time when people want these alternatives?
I think the federal government should spend a lot more money and effort investigating the science of nutrition generally. A lot of folks are very confused about what's good for you. We change all the time. Should you drink whole fat milk or low fat milk? And there's certainly a lot of people who worry about meat for a lot of reasons, including environmental issues. But meat is a very important part of the diet. Plant-based meat does provide some protein in there. You've got pea additives and other things that are legumes that add protein to your diet. But whether it's better for you than meat is really something we just really don't know yet. We do know it's safe. And those consumers who are vegetarians will probably go that route. So there's different strokes for different folks. That's the great thing about the food industry today. There are all sorts of options out there. It's just that we need to do more research to figure out what is really good for you.
All right. Dan, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Dan Glickman. All right, this is a fascinating conversation. It's not a conversation we normally have, but I think this is important to understanding whether or not Beyond Meat or Impossible, if it comes down the pipeline later on, is viable. And the important point here is that we do not know if these substitutes are better for you.
Well, what we do know is that there certainly could be some arguments as it relates to cholesterol and sure, some aspects of meat that I think people can clearly identify. But absolutely, and bringing it back to the market, what's clear is that people are willing to pay, and I mean in a market multiple for companies that seem to be in the healthful kind of forefront. And I go right to CMG or a company that really ultimately, I don't think CMG is doing anything all that different than a lot of other brands out there that are understanding that people want a different kind of fast casual. But the multiple that they're able to demand, and frankly, even Shake Shack. Look at Shake Shack, which seemed to be a lot of hype come out of the gates, and that there's no way they could grow into that multiple. The stock still trades at 100 times because actually their growth continues to be a function of better quality products, even in fast food.
Well, I'll tell you, the growth on this is what the amazing part is. I mean, every day you see a new commercial that they're doing this Beyond Meat or Impossible Burger at some place, and you can't get the product. So whether it's good for you or not so good for you, we know that it's probably not worse than meat, and people want it. Demand for the product is there. They can't keep it on the shelves, and that's why I think Beyond has done so well.
People are getting tricked into the idea that it absolutely is better for you, though. Is it? We don't know. Mr. Glickman was saying that. He goes, hey, maybe it is, but we really just don't know yet. So because of that, I go for taste, man. Give me Jack in the Box.
Yeah,
Give me Jack. Give me a great meal.
Jack in the Box. I thought you were going to say a ribeye. I mean,
well, you know,
Jack, give me Jack in the Box.
If you're going sort of in the fast food world, you're traveling around.
Yeah, but these things are delicious. Have you had them?
Have you had a Jack jump?
I've had it. But I've
Jack
also
in
had
the
an
Box.
Impossible Burger. It's delicious.
Whoa.
Not even
I think
close.
they're fantastic.
I've seen this over fast food. All right.